it was like humid and 80 some odd degrees this morning. And then I walked back out of the office and I was like, oh my God, it's 55 and it's fall. Like it was summer. And then I walked back out this morning. It was summer. And then this afternoon it was winter or fall.
It was raining all last week here in California. And now it's back up to 80 degrees. And I feel like I'm going to the pumpkin patch. Get my pumpkin, make a little jack-o'-lantern.
Oh my God, he's a fall girl.
That's my wife.
Landon's a fall girl as well.
But I have kids, so you're allowed to do fall girl stuff when you have kids.
I knew he's a fall girl. Wow. I'm the last one holding on to my manhood here.
I'm not sure if that's like an excuse for Landon or a knock at me, but either way, I'm slightly offended.
Well, we've both.
I'm over it now.
You're pumpkin spice latte, so that's what you are. Let's start this.
Jesus.
Welcome to the Money Lap.
I kind of look up mid taco bite.
You don't know disappointment. Talking all things motorsports by two real drivers.
I appreciate being called a gritty driver.
With many, many years of experience.
We've had to do that other people didn't want to do.
The most dedicated host in the motorsports podcast world.
Weren't we supposed to have somebody come on our show as a guest?
No, we did it.
Did we?
Yes.
Yes, for our 1-year anniversary.
And we definitely know what we're doing.
Remember, talk through your mic.
I'm talking past it like this.
Well, if you just pointed it differently. Never mind.
Let's talk about race cars. God's sakes.
This is our worst show ever.
Hello, welcome to Money Lap. I'm Parker Kligerman. Oh, wait, I can't even say my own name. Parker Kligerman. And I am joined by a man who is back from the dead. It is my good friend, Landon Cassill. Landon, I need you to apologize to our dear listener. Shout out Denny Hamlin. For us not having an episode last week. You went dark on us. You went dark.
Sorry. I'm sorry. But I'm here.
All right. That didn't feel heartfelt. It didn't feel like you mean it. But I'll let it go. Just this one time. Nonetheless, we apologize for being gone for a week, but we are back. It is a new Money Lap, and we have a lot to talk about. It is Wednesday, October 8th, and obviously we're past the Roval race and that elimination race that moves the Cup Series into the round of 8, also the Xfinity Series into the round of 8. I raced in the Truck Series, but we're not going to dive too deep into some of like the particulars of the race, obviously, because we're a couple days past that. But there's a ton of big topics in the NASCAR world to jump into. And I think this weekend really brought some of those to the forefront. We've heard all year about the, playoff format discussions, some of the fatigue around the playoffs, maybe fatigue around NASCAR and the car and all these different things. And it even got as far as I was listening to Dale Jr.'s podcast this week, and he said, similar to what Jeff Gluck said, it was tough to turn on the Roval race. Like he wasn't excited. He's like, I didn't like that feeling. Now, some of that's road course, SVG is going to dominate, that sort of thing. But it was odd to hear from a bunch of people that love it. In our own Money Lap group chat, Josh, AJ, Brett, they were all lamenting things that they just weren't excited about within NASCAR. Landon, what is happening here? Are we being programmed by algorithms on Twitter and then Instagram? Is this big tech taking over and showing us only the negative things and therefore programming us all to feel negative about something that we did like at one point?
I think absolutely.
You got to talk into your mic.
I think absolutely. I think there is the social media algorithms are definitely in control of our lives right now. And they're driven by, we know this already, right? If you're on social media, you know this. Like they're driven by negativity bias, right? That like negativity bias gets an algorithmic boost is what I'm saying.
Yep.
So when you have like some of these just really disheartening storylines just continuing to gain traction, like the lawsuit and just the banter that goes with it and the cynical banter, and And then there are prominent people that are critical of the playoff system, and it's during the playoffs, and they're just like feeding that negativity, and that and like I said, we know that these algorithms latch onto that because those negative posts drive more engagement than positive posts. And that engagement sort of reinforces the original content. So then the original content like reproduces more or makes that creator sort of continue down that message because now they're gaining steam or they're gaining audience. And I'm not really vilifying any specific person as much as just that's what happens. Right.
Yeah.
Or even, and I'm also not trying to vilify any message. Right. I'm not really picking a side, but it just seems like it's gotten heavy lately.
It does. And it feels like, the TV rating stuff as of late is sort of
Add that to the list.
Yeah, well, it adds
Right?
the negativity. And is it a result of the negativity or a cause for negativity, right? That just sort of snowballs it further, right? We're not going to know. There's no
I
way
don't know.
to know.
I mean, you and I had a 20-minute conversation this morning on what, could have been the podcast itself about, the actual network selection, like the channels that these races are going on, and is, how much does that play a role? Is USA Network the best destination for a NASCAR race? Right? Is it doing well for Premier League? Not really.
Well, I would say that I was on the broadcast this weekend, and the TV ratings were slightly higher than the week before and the week before that.
Sorry, I don't want to put you in a bad spot there.
So no, I'm just saying you're welcome, basically.
I don't know. Well, so yeah, the goal there wasn't to get in the weeds as much as just like this isn't anything new either on social media, that negativity sort of drives these algorithms, drives engagement. The algorithms are driven off of engagement. So if negativity is driving engagement drives the algorithms. That's what's getting put on your suggested timelines. That's what people are seeing. That's what they're engaging with. And it's just like this snowball effect. That's nothing new, but it just maybe this is the first time or the most recent time, I guess, that we're all actually talking about it out loud, where it's like, why is it so heavy? And you said it right there, like Dale Jr. I guess I didn't think of it anything more than out of the normal until you mentioned Dale Jr. this morning, where it's like he actually verbalized it on his podcast that it was hard for him to want to tune into the race. And it's like, okay, maybe everybody is. I mean, and you have Mark Martin, this eternal optimist, right? Lover of the sport, is like on a crusade against the playoffs.
That's a great way to describe it.
Right?
Yeah.
Like one of the most positive, optimistic guys, out there about the sport, is on a crusade against the playoffs. And he has an important voice, and it's emboldened a lot of other people to chime in. And it's drowned out the media who generally supports the playoffs, right? Like if you look at the mainstream NASCAR media members, the Bobs, Jeff Gluck, Bianchi, Kelly Crandall, like just the people that are the regular crowd of media that they generally support the playoffs. I feel like these negative voices have gained way more steam.
I think so too.
Is it the algo? Is it or is it the masses? I don't know.
You don't know. You don't know, and there's no real way in this modern day age to know, because we're all
with
sort
anything.
of shoved. Well, but yeah, with anything, you're shoved into a bit of a hive mind, right? That that grows because that's the thing that gets clicks and it gets views and that sort of thing on Twitter. And just to add to that a little bit, Twitter has been tweaking its algo in the last couple of months. Nikita Beer was brought in as the CEO and has been working to change it. And he was like, if you're getting gas station fight videos, then you're doing something wrong on your Twitter, basically. But I don't know. I feel like as they make tweaks, it's subtle things that you'd never notice unless you were really trying to pull yourself out from a 10,000 foot view and be like, well, wait a second, what just changed? Why is this suddenly all I'm seeing? And I even noticed in myself as of late, I try to avoid Twitter because I'm like, oh, shit, it's just so negative.
It's just
all
scary and weird.
Downer.
And this is like beyond just NASCAR.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Well, this goes to
but
politics,
we're just talking
everything.
about NASCAR. Yeah, it goes to everything, but like just talking about the one sport that we love, right? The one thing we know about. And how many NASCAR fans are there? I mean, at one point NASCAR said 150 million, but
yeah,
are there 10 million people that watch NASCAR? Are there 20 million people that watch
25
NASCAR?
to 50 million, probably somewhere in there.
There's 50 million NASCAR fans, right? If 1,000 people all in one day are talking on Twitter about how they hate the playoffs, 1,000, just 1,000 out of those 50 million fans, it has the ability to completely take over the narrative, and it makes it look like that's what the social media algorithms do now.
Yep.
It's like, just maybe I might be shooting high by saying 1,000. If 100 people are saying the same thing about a topic at the same time, the algorithm can make it look like, can get that message in front of millions of people.
Yep.
So just to clarify, are you guys? Because I feel like if I would be
Yes, we
listening on
hate the
this on-
playoffs. We want to go back to full season.
Okay,
We're gonna get there, by the way. I'm just
sure that I understood your guys' stance on this, rather than like discussing why we're all feeling this way. I mean, for me,
I wanted to know. No, Josh, that's a good point. We're gonna get there, and we're gonna make points about that. But I just wanted to start off with without making a declaration or taking a position. My point being, it has just been odd. There's so much negativity all around, and it's not just playoffs. It's everything you can think of that could be thought to be negative. So much so that Jeff Gluck today tweeted, there's been a lot of negative sentiment lately here. I'm not saying this is the primary reason, but one factor that can't be overlooked is we've already sailed past what is believed to be most consecutive race weekends in NASCAR history, 22. We are 24 in with 4 to go. I don't know if that's a big deal. My thought on, length of season, amount of races, length of races is if the product's good enough or people are excited about it enough, then you can't give them enough. But do I think there's a value in holding things back or, only not oversupplying a market? Of course, that's just basic market dynamics. But I do think that, this has been a pretty consistent NASCAR schedule for 30 years, 35 years of like this amount of races, this amount of weekends, that sort of thing. I don't think you can blame that. The whole going up against football with the TV ratings, sure, football is growing and that sort of thing. But I'll just say that for the last 10 years, all I've been told is NASCAR has immense value because on a Sunday that football is there. It's one of the only things on TV that could get 2-3 million viewers. Right now, that's not the case, but usually it's the only thing that can do that, right?
Well, and also football has changed in the last couple of years.
It has,
because they've spread their games out more to consume the entire day.
Yeah.
Right? Like in our household, when we watch football, it's all day long. From 8 in the morning, because we're watching the games that are in Ireland and Germany and London or whatever, wherever they have them. Do they do them in Spain too?
I don't believe so. They've done a couple in Brazil, or at least one in in Brazil.
But like, so you're starting Sunday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not stupid. That when those games are over, there's another round of games at noon, and there's another round of games at 3 o'clock, and there's another round of games at 7.
And if you don't like the game you're watching, you can just change to another one.
Yeah.
All right, maybe football is, sure, it has an effect. There's no doubt. It's the 800-pound gorilla that just continues to grow. I was talking to a marketing exec at a network, and I said, I just can't believe football has any room to actually grow. Like, how have they not saturated the entirety of the U.S. market is amazing to me. I mean, maybe they are. Like, when you asked how many NASCAR fans there are, it's such a funny question because I know I've told this story before on here, but like if I was polled if I was in a poll and they were like, are you a fan of golf, the PGA Tour? I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. How often do I watch? I watch the Masters, maybe the U.S. Open. But I would say, yeah, I'm a fan. And so I think for NASCAR, that inflates all those numbers. But for football, I don't think there's many people in the United States that wouldn't tick the yes box on a poll that says, are you a fan of the NFL?
So more on this playoff format discussion.
All right, we'll go back
because
we don't know shit about football.
Because Steve O'Donnell, was recently on Dale Jr. Download, and just a couple nuggets from that, and I'm reading off a Jeff Gluck tweet here. So Steve is saying that there's nothing is going to be announced before the end of the season on the playoffs. Okay, that doesn't surprise me. However, he's saying he thinks the current playoffs potentially hurt star power.
I was going to get into that.
Oh, you were?
No, go on. Keep going. Keep going.
You tweeted this. Doesn't like that people talk about the playoffs when someone wins the Daytona 500, right? We've heard that. But we're hearing this from the president of NASCAR. NASCAR needs the drivers to buy into whatever format that is, right? So they're feel like there's enough drivers that have been vocal. And NASCAR can't have a format in place to bring in new fans at the expense of the existing fans. NASCAR fans are not like football fans. It's interesting that
took us to 2025 to realize this.
Right? Have we? Is this the first time that they've in these sort of changes are acknowledging the core fan base?
Yep, I think so. And my whole thing, so we can talk star power for a second, which was, I think Keselowski pointed that out, and it's been a topic in this design that it doesn't allow stars to be made because you're not going to have someone who can have a consistent great run because of the design and its nature of being so, dwittled down to such a small sample size. It's almost impossible in a sport where everyone competes at the same time for someone to rise above everyone else, right? So I think that's one thing that kills star power. The second part is you have all these weird storylines that just sort of sap away from the sport. And I thought of one from this past weekend where Denny Hamlin talked about the whole deal with Ross, right? And where he was not told by the team where he was running and the fact that Ross needed that spot that he overtook Ross for on the last lap, and therefore Ross took him out, and he was upset about it because of what it does for him next week. And he had a couple comments that were interesting, and he said, I wasn't really looking to push the issue or do anything this weekend. All I needed was just a solid finish for the metric next week so we could reset and keep going, because he had enough points that race really didn't matter. And I sat there for a second, and he talked about when he went into that final corner after he passed Ross, he said, I just pussyfooted in there, make the corner, I'm good. And I thought about that, and I was like, on one side, that's the drama of the playoffs, right? The whole thing between Logano and Chastain racing for a single point at the end, a single position. But the unintended consequences, the guy like Denny doesn't care about that race. It didn't matter. Now, if that was one of 10 races as he's fighting for a championship, he's going as hard as he can for that position right there, right? Because he just knows every point is an added position, added a chance to maybe be closer to a championship, right? Or if it's a 36 race, all those moments matter. And so these moments that we can say are highlights are actually in some respects not highlights, because you have such a variable set of goals in that moment. Does that make sense? Slightly, you have when we go to Daytona for the cutoff, that is such an awkward race to me because you have a lot of drivers who are racing literally for their season, some who don't care, and some who are there to help their teammate late in a race try and get into that postseason sort of thing. It creates these weird unintended storylines that, yes, it can create highlights, but it also creates these weird moments where there are competitors in that event where that event doesn't matter to them as much as others.
It directly counteracts the 100% rule that NASCAR has unofficially said.
Lot to unpack there.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack. But the other part of that was, the team didn't tell Denny, and I know that Freddie Kraft said that Connor Zilich's spotter during the Xfinity race was sort of reprimanded for giving him a points update because Connor came on the radio and asked basically, what is the point situation? NASCAR. I talked to NASCAR about that this week. We do a competition call with them every week, and I asked essentially, what is acceptable communication in this playoff 100% rule era? And they really boil it down to, if you are someone racing for a position in the playoffs and you want to know the points, say Logano, Ross Chastain, totally fine. If you're somebody locked in and are in a position to possibly affect one of those other drivers or a teammate, we're going to look at it. If you're someone who's completely out of it and you want to know, we might look at it. And basically saying if you have something to gain or not gain is how they're going to look at that. And I thought, well, once again, this just sounds wildly complicated. Because
I don't like that.
Right?
I don't like the 100% rule. I probably said something different in a different episode, but right now in this moment, I don't like the 100% rule. No, I don't endorse itchy arm code words and somebody spinning out on purpose to bring out a yellow. Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. And if that happens, it should be investigated and the criminal should be charged. But like the whole idea of telling a driver with a half a lap remaining in the race to save his tires, it's like, I would much rather the crew chief come over the radio and say, "Hey, Alex, be good to our Chevy teammates up there. They need that one spot to make it to the next round."
Yep.
And Alex just back off. Like, what? I would rather have that.
Yeah.
If we're in this world of playoffs where it comes down to crossing the line in a certain order to determine who advances and who doesn't, let's just call a spade, right? And we have all these manufacturers and all this stuff and the team alliances, and it's like, I don't know. It's just it's fatiguing. And the other thing too that was interesting is like, and maybe this isn't a productive path to go down, but when you're explaining all these like scenarios of what happens in a playoff moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I don't think those things that you were describing early in this, like coming down to one point and focusing on those positions and advancing and the Daytona being an awkward race and all that stuff, I don't think getting rid of the playoffs and going back to full season fixes or changes those scenarios as much as you think. Because we haven't had a full season points championship in this era of hyper manufacturer OEM final boss culture that we live in NASCAR right now.
Yep.
Who's to say that once you get down to like the last 8 or 10 races of the season, when it's obvious who the number one Toyota driver is going to be and the number one Ford driver is going to be, that those teams all just let them find their way to the front of the field, that every time Denny Hamlin gets behind a Toyota, they pull over and let him go. And next thing you know, the same 4 guys are running 1, 2, 3, 4 every week because all their teammates just let them run because every point matters, right?
Yep.
Like, who's to say that doesn't happen?
I think it's a very valid point. And it's not to say that this sort of, idea of collusion and that sort of stuff is anything new. I can think back to when there was 36 race formats or just full season format for the championship. When it came down that final race, you had teams bring extra cars to a race so that their car couldn't, and it would suddenly have an issue right away. So they couldn't finish low enough in that race. Right. You had teams, I think it was the Truck Series 2003 or whatever, when they had the one guy take out Brendan Gaughan or whatever. Like, there's been things like that.
Yeah, and it's going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. It's going to happen again. So, I mean, the whole collusion.
But that's motorsports.
That's motorsports.
I like that more than what we have currently happening. Like,
how's it different?
Well, the fact that Denny Hamlin can't make a decision on whether or not he wants Joey Logano or Ross Chastain to race against in the round of 8 because there's fear of getting penalized for race manipulation.
Well, what's the difference between that and Denny Hamlin letting Christopher Bell go by him and then blocking Kyle Larson?
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. It's just they can't do that right now because there's like too obvious to me that with the way NASCAR's doing it. It's just frustrating. I felt like I was banging my head against the wall watching Denny pass Ross. I know he wasn't trying to, but he also didn't know the situation. And it's like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we even here talking about this?
What's weird is like he should have known the situation and he should have been allowed to choose who
Yeah.
he wanted to race against in the next round.
Exactly. That's what
Like
I'm
I don't know
saying.
why that would be race manipulation or not.
Exactly.
And maybe I don't know if people are suggesting that it would have been, but like if you're Denny Hamlin, who would you rather race against in into the penultimate round?
Yeah.
Ross or Logano, the guy who literally has a reputation for not showing up until the last four races of the season,
and especially Phoenix,
and then winning the championship.
where Penske's going to be dominant.
I wanted to touch on one point on the star power thing. That was such. I didn't even think of the star power until you mentioned it, and then apparently Brad has been talking about that, so I obviously missed that in my algorithm. But that's such an interesting point because here's a real life example that we're potentially about to live through. Hopefully we don't. Who has built more star power in this sport in the last 9 months than Connor Zilic? Nobody, right? I would even say not even SVG, right?
Yeah.
Like Connor Zilic is rising the ranks of star power in NASCAR. Sponsored by Red Bull, like Cup ride, 10 wins, just absolutely killing it. And what we might as well crown him right now. If the championship was consisted of a full body of work of the season and then also star power, right? If star power was a points figure in the championship, he's won it. But here we are, the season's not over yet, right? And he could very well go to Phoenix and Cole Custer could be the champion.
Well, Cole Custer won't be.
Or I mean, I said Sam Mayer. I'm sorry, I was thinking of the cars.
I know.
I was thinking of the Haas factory team. Sam Mayer or Sheldon
Jesse
Creed.
Love. Yeah.
Jesse
Sheldon
Love.
Creed could be. Yeah. He hasn't won a race, but
Right.
still could be.
Finish
Like,
second.
Anybody else with literally a tenth of the star power of Connor Zilic could do the ultimate upset and be crowned the champion in Phoenix, and it would completely obliterate. Like, would it? Well, actually, I'm asking, would it completely obliterate, or how much would it deflate NASCAR's home office's excitement and momentum around promoting Connor Zilic as the next big thing? Right?
It would hurt.
Like, imagine all the meetings in New York and LA and the stuff that they're pitching and the things they're trying to get him to. Does that change it?
Because when people say,
no,
did he win the
maybe.
championship? And it's like, no.
No.
It's like, what?
You're right. It's like, oh, well, who won? Sheldon Creed. Who's that? How many races did he win? Well, he finished second 25 times.
No, it is a very valid, I think, unintended consequence of a format like this. And I will go even a step further to counteract that slightly and think, when you devise something like this, and when I first thought of it, I was like, man, this is super cool because more names have the ability to be in that conversation. You have more of the cars being talked about late in the season, right? All these things that make drive value, eyeballs, star power. But unknowingly, what it actually does is take your true stars and devalue them.
So let me
put them in a position to be devalued.
Let me kind of bring the counter argument now.
Okay.
Because in football, would you say that a star that continuously puts together the seasons but doesn't win the Super Bowl, like that's part of their story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the star power can be made by simply winning the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl is what matters. The championship is what matters. That one game is what matters. And so, not to, I'm not even going to, I don't have to name anybody specifically, but it's just like you take a driver who is a successful driver, and there's a lot of them in our sport that have won lots of races, have been in championship caliber teams, scenarios, all that stuff throughout their entire career, but never closed the deal. To say that, that they were robbed of star power because of a format is like, well, they didn't win the championship, right?
Yeah.
And I guess you could say the same thing about any quarterback in the NFL that, had a successful career, a lot of playoff berths, and just could never get it to the line.
Who's a bigger star right now, Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes.
How about I want to use
I don't know if
that
that's true.
example.
I don't know.
Is it?
I want
don't know.
to use that
Joe Burrow
example.
is he the highest paid right now? Somehow
He's also injured. And
he's injured. He keeps getting injured.
Yeah,
But he's like a star
thanks,
off the
Cincinnati.
field. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like he's a pretty big name
But-
and personality.
I want to use that example and pull the Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts, and pundits are constantly talking about how he is not the greatest. He's not even a top 5 quarterback. He's not a GOAT. Yet he's been to 2 Super Bowls. And I almost feel like he's a Joey Logano in the NFL, where people are like, yeah, but he's not actually the reason why they won.
I guess that's a really good one to bring up. And you wonder
A lot of football
I mean,
in this, by the way. We
sorry,
apologize.
I
You
guess,
came in here
yeah,
for
sorry about
motorsports and racing.
Well, that's a good one to bring up, and I guess it's.
This
his
is literally
story is
what's
still being
happening.
told.
By the way, this is what's happening
I
to
know,
the rest of the
football's
U.S. They're like,
taking
well,
over.
screw NASCAR. Let's talk about it.
I guess his story is still being told, right? And how many Super Bowls did it take before people stopped saying that about Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. True.
That you just end up with someone. I don't know. So there's, but I appreciate Brad's perspective that star power thing. I think, to complement motorsports in general, I would definitely back that theory that, like, okay, star power takes time, and you want it to compound on itself, and in motorsports, to see a driver show versatility and resilience and adversity and overcoming adversity, and just to put together 30 weeks of just domination, and then to rightfully crown that driver the champion, and then to marvel at that for the 3 or 4 or 5 months until the next season, and to squeeze every ounce of promotion out of that until the next season. There's definitely a fair argument to say that is the best way to harness and leverage star power.
I think in a sport in which everyone plays at the same time, where they race, that's basically the only way, is that they win. And they get that time on camera, and you get to know them and tell their story more often, and so on and so forth, and it gets beat in your head that they're the star, right? So
a comparison there is golf, right? Like, and
Yeah.
I would share, I think I would definitely share in an outsider's, this is me sort of making an argument against the playoffs in NASCAR, because I don't really care about the FedEx Cup that much. Like, I don't, not the tournament, the weekend, or I'm sorry, the Tour Championship weekend.
Yep.
Right? Like, that's kind of their version of, like, the playoffs all feed into one big weekend, and then they have this huge check. And it's like, to me, Scotty Scheffler is the champion of the PGA Tour.
Oh yeah.
Whether he won the Tour Championship or not, he's the championship golfer of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just because he didn't play well on the weekend of the Tour Championship, whether he did or didn't, right?
Yep.
Doesn't mean to me, as a casual fan, that he's not the champion. He's my champion. Because the guy won freaking how many tournaments did he win this year? How much money did he win? Right?
I don't know.
So
can't
I could
keep up
see
with it all.
that. I could see that. I'm in my mind, I can kind of formulate what you're saying, a difference between a one-on-one sport, right? Football, baseball, basketball, whatever, versus a sport where everybody plays at the same time or on the same, against each other every weekend. Because in racing or in golf or whatever, it's like, if I am the champion of the year, it doesn't just mean that I had the best overall season, right? Because you have the same thing in football or basketball with records and standings. But it means that I showed up week after week and beat your ass over and over and over and over again. Like, all of the same people.
Yep.
Right? It's not like, I beat the Patriots that one week, but then they lost to them the second time I played them, and then I beat them in the playoffs. Right? It's like, no. Shut up. I beat you at Bristol. I beat you at Daytona. I beat you at the road courses. I beat you. You and all your team and all your crew chief changes. I beat them all over and over and over again.
It's what it used to be, right? And you had certain cars that were just faster than all the others, and they would always rise to the front. And that's how you end up with rivalries, which are tough to generate now because of we've talked about that with parity. Although I think if you go to a 36 race format, there's 3 teams that are still the most dominant 3 teams in this format. And no matter what format you go to, if you want to win a championship, especially in a 36 race season, you're going to have to be driving for Team Penske, Joe Gibbs Racing, or Hendrick Motorsports. But that's just my thought.
I jumped the gun on reading Jeff Gluck's tweet in the quotes, but to cap that all off, NASCAR is clearly looking at changing something.
Well, I was going to get into that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you just keep jumping. My goodness. The guy
ahead.
takes a week off and just wants to take over. We had a tweet from our friend of the show, Dylan Gooden, and I thought this was interesting. It was 2 days ago, and he took a screenshot of that Winston Cup Series point standings that this account does every week with the old music and everything, and it had 140,000 views, and at the same time, the NASCAR playoff standings graphic and tweet was at 83,000 views. And I just thought that was a great microcosm of everything we've been talking about in terms of all this stuff, where it's just like there is this obvious nostalgia / emphasis on just going back. And this is a term I've coined as of late, and maybe other people are saying, I don't know, going back to the basics. For NASCAR, it's like all this stuff has been tried and trying tweaking and doing all these things. And I personally, when we get to the point of making our position known, personally, I have enjoyed the playoffs. I have enjoyed racing in them. But I will say, does it pique my interest a little bit? Yeah, I like to see those moments of like who's trying to make it in, that sort of thing. And I found it very interesting. And having covered it on TV for many years, I always found it a very interesting thing to cover, and it was exciting and that sort of stuff. And so, I didn't have a big problem with it because to me, it was sort of like this unique NASCAR thing, which was about entertainment. But if people aren't also entertained, then it doesn't really matter, right? And I think the other side to it is the full season deal. Like when I sit there and I get stuck on nostalgia of looking at 2004 qualifying videos from the Charlotte October race at night, I'm like, damn, I just want that again. Like, I want that. I want that NASCAR. Of course I want that NASCAR, but it's 2025. We're 21 years past that, right? And I can't have that exact thing. But I think there's a lot of that want of what that was and what it, what we fell in love with initially. And I think there's just this thought right now, to your point of NASCAR changing things. I just have to, I get this sense and talking to people, being on the ground, listening to these shows, listening to, Dale Jr. talk, who has immense information. And it's just like, bullshit. Let's just go back to what we did. Let's just try and just give everyone the base what they want. Give the core fan base what they want. If you do that and you create a bit of positive sentiment and groundswell, those outsiders can be sucked into that, right? They can be globbed on. They can say, oh, that looks kind of fun. Look at how much fun those people are having. They love this thing, right? And not to get political at all, but it is a little bit of the Trump playbook of go towards your base. The others will come around, right? And I just think that this is a very similar moment for NASCAR in that they are in a position to just go and find every one of those things that the core fan base has been upset about and just say, here, we're going to do it. We're going to fix it. Boom. Done. Solved.
I think that's well said. And I can support that for sure. We've talked about this on this show plenty of times. You and I are very similar in our thinking there. I've enjoyed the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. But I can see everything that you're talking about is very well said, and you're right. For the record, I hate those Twitter accounts that follow if it were Winston Cup Series. Hate it. Because it's not. If we were on the 36 race format, it would be different.
I know. Plus, there's the whole thing of stage points, which didn't exist.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, that murky's the water.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Big time.
It's not, but you know what? I guess you make do with what you got. So, um, the only thing for me on it is still, and I'm repeating a line that I firmly believe in, is if we're doing this because that's where the loudest voices are right now, and that's where what we're following, and it just so happens that it's taking us back to our roots, then we will end up still changing when those voices change to start singing a different tune again. But if we're doing this because we realize what our roots were and that it was better because that's who we are, and that we're then that is the right answer. And I don't know, I don't know how NASCAR will migrate back to a more season-long format, if they will, right? They haven't. We're talking as if next year they're going to run a 36 race format. We don't know that.
No.
It's probably very highly likely that it isn't, right?
I would say there's still probably a chase style.
Right. There's still going to be some kind of playoff. But it just, the thing that concerns me is still, what are we actually rooted in? Because if NASCAR came out in December and said, all right, everybody, here's the news. We're going back to a 36 race format. Why? Because we listened and we heard you and we're doing it. We're doing what you said. Wrong answer. But if in December they go, hey, everybody, we're going back to a 36 race format. Why? Because that's who we are. That's what NASCAR is. That's what NASCAR always was for 50 years before. That's what it's meant to be. That's what stock car racing is meant to be. It's meant to see a champion across multiple platforms, distances, surfaces, skill levels. We want to see the crew chiefs overcome all the adversity of building so many different cars for their team and setups, and they got to put it all together. And that's what NASCAR is. That's what motorsports ought to be. Then that's, to me, where the right answer, and that's only for one example, right? Let's just talk about the point system. Because I feel like for all of the other things that we have lost, quote unquote, lost our way on, right, in this sport, my philosophy is that it can be tied back to, we lost our roots. We lost who we were, right? Like, what is a stock car? Like, what's great about a stock car? What was a stock car through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that everybody loved so much? They were loud. They were fast. They made a shitload of horsepower. The tires slid around the corners. The car were out of control. The driver's hands were moving. They were leaning on each other. They had spectacular crashes, and the driver climbed out and was greasy and dirty. And you know what I mean? Like, that's,
that's some romantic shit right there. If I ever
it's some romantic shit about stock car racing. That's different from other motorsports, right? Because F1, I can be romantic about F1. That has nothing to do with how the cars race on the track. Just the marvel of an F1 car itself is enough to make you fall in love with F1. An F1 car on the track by itself is enough to make you want to go pay money to go watch it, right? Like, that's different. And then in endurance racing and sports car racing, we can tease about the FIA and the dumb stuff they do with drivers and how you're not allowed to pass this way, you're not allowed to do that. But like, that type of racing it's romantic for a different reason, right? But stock car racing is stock car racing. And so that's, when we talk about the criticisms of the next gen car, and we get into these critiques of like, well, it needs more horsepower here, it needs less downforce, it needs this, it needs that, it needs that. And it's like, well, hold on a second. When we designed this car, what were we rooted in when we built this thing? Because I think it's possible that we maybe have lost sight of what is stock car, what is NASCAR, what is a national association for racing these stock cars supposed to be? What are these cars supposed to look like when they go around the track? What are they supposed to do? How are they supposed to look when they overtake each other and when they lean against each other? So that's that's my assessment of the playoffs, but then really just how it, I don't know, branches out into pretty much every other decision you make for this sport.
Landon, I think that's your stump speech for president of NASCAR. That was a good one. What
That's
are
how
we
you get
rooted in? What is
thrown
the
out of-
core?
as
And
a
while
ju-
you were doing that, I was thinking, let me think. What is a NASCAR stock car? It is visibly out of control, over horsepowered, undertired, heavy.
Or that's
right?
how when you go to register to get a hard card, they're like, huh, that's weird. The system says you're not allowed to have one. What? I'm going to have to call my manager on this. It's getting some kind of rejection notification here. It won't let me register your name.
Oh man. I think we have really gotten to the root of it. I would say if there is this return to that sort of sentiment of what you described of like, what does NASCAR stand for? And what does stock car racing stand for? And what does it really mean? And what does it look like? Then I think that's a powerful guiding light to making the right decisions that aren't about Twitter algorithms and, to your point, the loudest voices and so on and so forth. But it's truly getting to like, what does this even mean? Why do we do this? Why does this happen every Sunday? What are we
Guiding
trying
light
to
for
raise?
every decision?
Yeah,
Like,
it should be for everything in this sense. So, and I think that would guide them to the right decision. And from the sense I get, I think some of the decisions I've, gathered are in that vein. And I love that comment from Steve O'Donnell that NASCAR fans are not the same as football fans. And it's like, my God, I feel like I've been saying that for 15 years to a lot of people. And one of the biggest moments that I remember being a little upset was when we went to the term playoffs instead of the chase, which to me, like NASCAR
We owned that.
They owned this thing called Chase for the Cup. There was a video game that was one of the most popular video games in NASCAR history that was termed after it. And we threw it away for a term that Little League baseball uses. What were we doing? That was one that just really got me upset. And I was told constantly because I'm not a general sports fan. I don't watch other sports. And I know I mentioned I like golf. I also watch the New York Giants, but I would not consider myself a football fan. Playoffs meant nothing to me. If anything, I had to even understand what it was. I was like, well, I don't even get it. And that to me has been the epitome of chasing outside a motorsports fan. And I love that term, that comment from Steve O'Donnell that, NASCAR fans are NASCAR fans, right? It's just you're a unique person that likes to see cars go fast in circles and lean into that, right? I like that. I don't know what else to say on all this. I feel like we really.
Well, I guess now I can't even remember what you said when we opened this show, but at least we talked about it before. We were going to talk about the big topics here. We took a week off. We were going to cover some big stuff. I think I said what I needed to say.
I think we did. I think we hit the biggest. Those were the topics. We just didn't really point them out as we went through them, but they were those.
And I know that we have on our list to talk about ratings, but I mean, we essentially can just fold that underneath everything that we just talked about.
Whole thing. It's there.
I mean,
speaking of positive sentiment, I did like some of the sentiment coming out of the 2311 FRM lawsuit against NASCAR in that it was announced they will be going into a mediation to discuss a settlement with the judge overseeing it, I guess, in some respects. And I feel like that is a positive thing considering you had many teams owners write basically a letter that public statements that basically supported the idea of a settlement. They wanted a settlement. We talked about that on this show a couple weeks ago, that was the sentiment on the ground that I was getting from talking to people, and they made it very public that they'd like a settlement. And I think this is at least for the health of everyone involved in the short term. I think that's a very positive thing.
Which
potentially,
yeah, I mean, for sure. I will say that's pretty typical in almost any lawsuit like this, that some court ordered mediation is pretty typical to see that before you go to a full trial. Judges often will do that to give the parties one last shot at trying to reach settlement before spending a whole bunch of money and time on a trial.
I think they've achieved that already.
Yeah. The one thing that was interesting in that, though, and this was before they kind of announced the mediation, Denny kind of had a snarky tweet response to NASCAR saying they wanted to settle.
Shout out
makes
to our
you
listener,
wonder-
Denny Hamlin.
So, Denny, we saw your tweet that you said basically hold my beer, which is kind of interesting.
That does give weight to your point of view with that, which is that this is pretty typical and it might not mean anything. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely means something. It means a mediation is going to happen.
Yep.
But if both parties don't genuinely want to settle, and there isn't, it could
well,
may not reach a settlement.
yeah,
I would
okay.
imagine a mediation like this too is going to take a while, right? This isn't like a 1-day mediation. This isn't like if you were to order a diecast from spoilerdiecast.com, one of the fastest growing diecast racing merch companies out there who have basically same day shipping. So this isn't a same day mediation. I would imagine it's going to take, this is probably an overnight thing and then take several days, multiple day mediation and multiple days of then buttoning up. It's going to take a while, I would imagine, but not at Spoiler Diecast. No, because when you order from spoilerdiecast.com, they ship same or next day. Your order is not sitting in mediation forever. They have a massive selection. They have over 1,900 products in stock, mostly NASCAR. You got a little bit dirt, sprint cars, IndyCar, F1. You get that Jeff Gordon golf bag. Looks like they still have it online.
Who in stock?
Sorry, is that William Byron or Jeff Gordon? No,
That was Jeff Gordon. And they got 2 in stock. So
they have 2. Okay. They've got free shipping on orders over $100 and a free NASCAR t-shirt of a random driver. If you just comment your preferred size in the order notes, use promo code MONEYLAP at spoilerdiecast.com to get that $100 free shipping on orders over 100 and free NASCAR shirt. So whether you're hunting down a rare piece or just looking to rep your favorite driver, go to spoilerdiecast.com, use promo code MONEYLAP, take advantage of free shipping and the free shirt while it lasts.
Love it. And for all of you that ordered the Spiked Coolers truck from Daytona, the win, not a win truck, I've been seeing all of your tweets that it's arrived. And for some of you that pointed out that Spoiler Diecast helped you out with great customer service when you need to change your address or other issues you had. So everyone's been tweeting at me. It's been a great experience. And my brother, I just saw he got his today. So
mine's in the P.O. box.
Josh is in his P.O. box. That's exciting. We love that. Thank you very much. Thank you, spoilerdiecast.com. Check them out for everything. We love those guys. They're awesome people. One thing that we didn't say, really, I think we alluded to it for a second. As we've been here, it's announced 750 horsepower in the Cup Series at all tracks under 1.5 miles, including road courses. That's a good move. Love it. Great. Do it. Now just up it like 300 more, and that'd be awesome.
Give an inch, they'll take a mile.
Yeah. You give a mouse what is it? You give him I can't remember the saying. But I do like that. So it's a great movement. That's awesome to see. Horsepower is just a great, beautiful thing that we like in motorsports.
They're chipping into it. They still have about 250 more horsepower to go. But
you like 250. I said 300.
I'll take it. Okay.
So
I'll take it.
I'd like to be way up there, but I'll take it very happily. So thank you, NASCAR. Thank you for the engine builders for making it happen, and the teams. Everyone agreeing that is only a positive thing. I just want to see really fast race cars. So I like that. Let's move into the Xfinity series. Do have to dispel a rumor here. Sadly, I found out about this rumor at the same time everyone did, that NASCAR Central tweeted. As I was probably behind many people because I was at the track racing in trucks when it was announced that by this person that I would be taking over one of the JRM cars in 2026 for 10 to 12 races. Unless this person knows something I don't know, then this is not happening. So I appreciate it. I saw it got a lot of play all over the internet when I got done with the truck race, and I was like, this is awkward. That has absolutely not been a discussion. So I appreciate being in a wonderful rumor like that, and I'm happy to have gotten you some clicks, NASCAR Central, but work on your sources. So unless you prove them to be right, but at this time,
Yeah,
absolutely
who
not.
knows?
Yeah,
They
you
could
never know.
be-
Could be maybe he's on the inside, or she, and they know things I don't even know.
I
But
feel like I have.
that would be pretty tough. I will lie. It'd be a pretty tough thing for me to pull off with the TV side. So,
Have you texted Dale just to touch base? You should just text him and just be like, "Hey man, touching base." And then link
I
the
should have
post.
sent that to him and been like, "Hey, anything you want to tell me?"
I feel like it wouldn't be the first time. I know that I've experienced this in my career. I just can't think of a specific example. I feel like it wouldn't be the first time where a rumor like that got out before the party involved in the rumor even knew that it was possible.
I used to have this theory that if you wanted a ride, I've told you this before. If you wanted a ride, you had to get Bob Pockris or Jeff Gluck or someone to write like one of those rumor articles. And you could be like, and my thought was always like, you could get them to write Parker Kligerman to the 48 car replacing Jimmy Johnson. Never had a discussion. And like 2 weeks later, you get a call from Rick and be like, "Hey man, I guess this is happening. We got to put you in now. This is all in the rumor mill."
Well, it makes sense. It's like, even if it was like, well, 48 rides available, who could potentially take that seat? How about Parker Kligerman? And then it's like the moment the people that actually make the decisions read that and see it on print and realize like, well, that doesn't look so bad.
Yeah, maybe it's more
Maybe we
psychology.
Yeah,
That's it. We're new rumor. Landon, Cassill, and Parker Kligerman form brand new 2-car cup team for themselves. It's called
who will be
Racing.
the first? Who will be the first NASCAR driver to like pay Chinese social media bots to start like changing the algorithm?
That's some seriously high-tech stuff. I bet there's F1 guys who've tried it. You know it. To have like a slew of bots responding to posts and being like, "Hire me, hire this guy, hire that guy." Oh,
Right.
it's definitely been done.
Like, he would be a great fit. This sponsor should look at this driver. I mean, that's how
He's
you
my
would do it.
favorite. Yeah. Most
That's how you
talented
would do it
driver ever.
too. Get that message in front of the social media managers of a sponsor, and they're like, "Man, all these people are talking about us and Parker Kligerman. Who's this Parker Kligerman guy? Maybe we should sponsor him. This guy's got quite a following."
We have changed the game. We could literally flip the script from the algos telling us what to do to we make it tell other people what to do and how to feel. Wait a second. Oh, wait, cut this out of the pod. We can't let this out. The show. Sorry, cut it out of the show. People can't know that they're on to us. Austin Hill did not make it through to the round of 8 in the Xfinity Series. He got eliminated by 21 points in the 21 car. His suspension took away his 21 playoff points he would have had. If you wanted a bit of irony from Break Hard blog there.
Do you think he reflects now a little bit harder on that one?
I've spoken to him, and I spoke to Eric Almirola about it. I actually spoke to Eric this weekend, and Austin has been very apologetic and has been adamant that he did not do it on purpose. To myself, and I confirmed that with Eric because he told Eric the same thing. Eric had a very good response, which is only one who knows is you, Austin, which I kind of felt as well. And that's true. That's the only one that's ever going to know. But I have to think he's definitely either way, either felt bad about it, and most likely, if it
He should feel bad about it.
And if it was intentional, I would have to believe he's had some remorse in there. But we'll never know. So, AM Racing announced that Harrison Burton will not return to the team for the 2026 NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series season. That's a lot. Burton made the playoffs for them for the first time. He did a great job. Has had a very solid season. Unfortunately, they did not go on to the round of 8 as they had a ton of issues there at the Roval. But I do believe you will see him in a ride next year. And I know they're working on it. And I think he can be in a competitive place. I think he proved a lot this past year with that team. So he did some really big things in building up that organization and getting them to be a playoff level capable race team. So I would think considering he has a lot of support and that sort of thing, that he will find himself in a competitive ride. So, new driver in 26, Landon Cassill, AM Racing. Put it out there. Get the
Let's
tweet
do it.
bots going.
Gets to let's go.
But Cassill Motors would have to become a Ford dealer entirely. So maybe that's the play. It's a business to business play, Landon.
That wouldn't be bad. I'd do
Yeah.
that.
I like that. In F1, McLaren is the Constructors' Championship. So we still have a bit of a battle there for the Drivers' Championship. What is the situation right now, Josh? Give us the update. I can't remember.
Oscar is losing patience even
He's
further.
imploding.
And McLaren is so hard trying just to make it seem like they don't have a favorite kid, even though Lando had a pizza party and had a third birthday party already this year, and Oscar still hasn't gotten the keys to the courtesy vehicle. So
what a way to break that down. And where's Max?
Max he's in it, a distant, hopeful, dreamy, potential champion.
Well, they start taking each other out.
It's
got a
possible. It's very possible. This last race, Lando dive bombed into turn 1, lap 1, and hit the back, I believe, of Max's car, and then slid into Oscar, and then passed Oscar by forcing Oscar to a direction that would have had him going to the wall if he had not lifted.
Okay. Interesting. Well,
Yep.
We'll see. I'm team Max if those two end up messing up. I just want to see him get close. I'd like to see Lando win a championship, but I just like to see him get close. I'm just a race fan, man. I just want to see good racing. You know what I mean?
I think at this point, the vibe has shifted from exciting to see McLaren sort of wrap a bow around their last decade's worth of building, and Lando, my hopeful to see him as a champion, to this sort of Max Verstappen villain arc where he digs himself and Red Bull into this deep hole and then right back out of it, and it's like, and the champion, and then the record books just end up looking no different. It just washes away the entire McLaren story from the record books, where we just our kids will be reading an F1 magazine and it just says Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen.
There are 6 rounds remaining. Oscar has 336 points, Lando 314, and Max at 273. It's not as distant as I once thought it was.
Yeah, no, I thought it was closer. So
yeah, Max still probably has to run the table one way or
it's
another.
26.
Is
that correct? With
yeah.
fastest lap.
Fastest lap does not award on a point anymore.
That's
they
right.
changed that for this year. So
that's right.
There is 63 points between Max and Oscar with 6 rounds left. That's 2.5 races. So Oscar needs to get dumped by Lando, and then Lando needs to get penalized for 30 seconds. Yeah, Max is possible to win it, but if he does win it, it'll be a very entertaining.
It'd be incredible.
6 rounds. It would be.
That guy's a badass. I saw a hype video on Instagram. I think it was last week or the week prior. And I reposted where it was just like made him into the most ultimate badass. And I was like, yeah, I see it. All his comments and like his just like does not give a shit attitude. It was amazing. Really well done. Speaking of McLaren, a little bit of drama out of IndyCar that involves F1. McLaren Racing boss Zach Brown has denied destroying evidence in relation to his team's legal case against IndyCar star Alex Palou. Remember, he had signed with them, then unsigned, and there was all these lawsuits. He ended up staying at Ganassi with former McLaren IndyCar team manager Gavin Ward telling a contact that McLaren used WhatsApp's disappearing messages when they were doing some of the discussions. Kind of sounds like a modern trial in all respects. Using what's the other one? Signal. Yeah, Signal is the big one. So I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. More legal
Pretty
stuff.
Funny.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've always I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I was spending time around some tech entrepreneurs, and one or two of them only would use Signal. And I looked at that as like, maybe they're really smart and they know a lot about the internet that I don't know. The other side of me was like, what are they hiding?
Maybe we should move Money Lap to Signal.
Landon just shook his head. He couldn't even respond. He didn't want it out there. He needed a disappearing message.
Don't know.
Well, we'll see what happens. We got to make some picks. Landon, what are we? We're at Las Vegas. It's Cup and Xfinity.
Joey Logano.
Oh, I knew you
Oh
were
my
going to
God.
do it. I knew you were going to do it.
Diabolical.
Jumped on that one.
No, that is.
Oh, so
That is-
Please. Like,
rough.
please. Just lock him in. Give him 3
You
weeks
know
to
what?
work on their Phoenix setup.
Who you got for
So-
Xfinity?
so good.
Who you got for Xfinity?
Zilich. Well, yeah, you know what? I mean, I can just go with Justin Allgaier again. It's going to be a JRM car.
Yeah, of course.
Can we just make a quick note that qualifying at the Roval in Xfinity was 1st through 6th Hendrick/JRM affiliated cars, and that the time gap between 1st and 7th, so the time gap between Connor Zilich on the pole and the next non-JRM car was like 1.4 seconds.
Jeez. It's insane.
And Connor, I mean, and then the third note in that is that Connor had a half a second gap to second place, his own teammate, who then the entire organization had a domination over the field in qualifying.
Unbelievable.
So almost a second and a half time gap between
Crazy.
first place and the next non-JRM car.
Well, hell, we know how good their cars are this year because I won a race in one of them. So, like, come on. They're incredible. They're insane.
So yeah, I guess
Otherworldly.
okay. So you put down Allgaier. My heart's with Connor Zilich. I just want to see him run the table.
Oh, yeah.
I really do.
Do you want me to put you down for Zilich? Or do you
No,
want
because
Allgaier?
I want Allgaier to win, but it's like, but I want Connor Zilich. Doesn't that make sense to you?
I feel like Allgaier is like, if he doesn't win this first race, he ends up in Martinsville in like an absolute heater of a battle to advance. It's like
I don't
every
know
year
if
this
Martinsville
happens.
is his place to win.
I don't think he wins, but
But
Well,
I just
the
I
field
do-
just
I
has
do
to
wanna
wreck
see
like it
Zilich
happened.
on the table.
Was it last year or 2 years ago when the whole field wrecked? 2 years ago at the line, and he won.
Yeah.
this is
Sheldon
true.
and
He
Austin.
he is very capable.
Yep.
Cool.
I'm gonna go with a bit of a contrarian pick here in Cup. By the way, last week I picked Ty Gibbs. He was right there in the top 3. It all went away, but I just want that to be said that I knew he'd be fast to roll.
I had no idea until you just said that right now.
Yeah, well, thanks. I'm gonna go with the driver of a car that, if times by 2, would be 44. That's 22. Joey Logano. Give it to me.
Oh my god.
And Xfinity, if you timesed the Cup car by, would it be 4? Yes, by 4, it would equal
44.
the car I picked for Cup. If you times that number by 4, who would it be? What number?
Oh, 88.
Dale
Bam! Connor Zilich.
Jesus, making me do math here,
Jeez.
bro.
Guys, come on.
I'm gonna go with Kyle Larson, just because I feel like he's gonna be an easy lock in there. I'm boring like that. I'm gonna throw I'm gonna say Austin Hill wins.
I actually thought about that because he's so good there sometimes.
Austin
All right,
Hillens.
Yeah, he can win. So we don't have any new Apple reviews because people hate us. If you want to be on the show, give us 5 stars. Apple reviews, you get there. We're at 235 reviews. We want to get to 300. Let's do that. Brett Silver on Spotify 2 weeks ago said, I love the show, but you guys missed the boat on the Ty Gibbs discussion. It was the perfect chance to ask John Hunter Nemechek about the teammate thing with JGR. He got shipped by Gibbs at the Xfinity race 3 years ago on the last lap at Richmond. Would have been interested to hear how it was handled then. Oh, it's a good one. I like that. You're right. Too late now, Brett, but good point. Chad says, I hate track limits to an extent. I'm for the tire limits. Sorry, Parker, but I'm all for unlimited Money Lap shows. Great episode with John Hunter. Let's go. That's right. Our last show was John Hunter, which was our biggest episode ever on YouTube, by the way.
If
Yeah.
The world has not told us enough times that we need more guests.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we still only do it like once a year.
But we vehemently tried not to. So
We're like, no, we're doing this the hard way.
yeah, if you don't like us,
You're gonna listen to us. You're gonna like it.
yeah, it's our hour to speak. You shall listen to us. Nobody will listen. Landon's got kids. They don't listen to him. Give him a listen.
That's right.
On YouTube, Mark Evans 4632 said, great show, guys. Solid experience content, and please have John Hunter Nemechek back soon. Such a cool, authentic professional driver, and so was Front Row Joe. I have to agree, he was awesome. Great to have had him on. He did express interest in wanting to come on a lot more. So we'll make it happen. Maybe this will be a 3-person show in the future. Yeah. Oh no. I totally forgot. No, speaking of 3 people and guest, we didn't do last week. We didn't update him. He's not here. That's Kyle Busch, who we were supposed to have on. Completely forgot to hit him up. Plus, I would think after his wreck, turn 1, lap 1 at the Roval, we might want to find a better weekend. Yeah.
Sorry, Kyle.
We'll try for next week with Kyle. We apologize, bud. Keep the 4 tires rolling the same direction this week. Peace.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Money Lap. If you like this show, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Share it with friends. We want to spread the word of great motorsports shows, of which we're somewhere up and around there. I'm not exactly sure where, but nonetheless, you can also reach out to us anytime on across social media or at our website, themoneylap.com, or at our email, friends@themoneylap.com. And of course, you can always leave us a review. 5 stars gets you on this very show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Goodbye.